you're raising theology now, which almost sounds very Christian, and we had African spirituality as an example.
When the supposed Jewish Messiah comes back, he's not coming back for Jews. He's coming back for a multi-ethnic community.
Welcome to the latest edition of Bisrat for Africa. I know it's been a minute since we've put out a video. We missed you guys, and it's good to be back with you again. So we're going to look at a video today from Penuel, the Black Pen, in his interview with Ongama Mtimka, who is a political analyst. He's also a professor at Nelson Mandela Bay University. He's a good guy, he's a Christian guy, and what I appreciate the most about him is that he's not afraid to talk about his faith publicly. And so in this video, he actually confronts Penuel about decolonization, because Penuel basically says we need to decolonize, and in decolonizing, we need to get rid of things like Christianity, and we need to go back to things like O Credo Mutuo. But the only interesting thing about this particular video is that Penuel doesn't embrace African spirituality. So he says, Sankofa, let's all go back, to our old ways. But then at the same time, he still says, no, I don't embrace it. I'm an atheist, I don't believe both. But I want you to go back to it. I want you to leave Christianity and to go back to this. So atheism, again, is also European. And a lot of people don't understand that, one of the great African philosophers once said that Africans are notoriously religious. And so to be an atheist is to be anti-African, is to go basically with the religion of the white man. But here he is now standing on some moral high ground and telling us that if you're a Christian, you're basically colonial, and to decolonize is to go back to African spirituality. But he won't go to African spirituality. He'll still go to atheism. So I want us to check this video, and I'll give some thoughts at the end of it. So let's check it out.
I do not buy into the idea, back to your question, I remembered it now, that to decolonize means we must undo who we are today.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that. So I'm a strong, born-again, Christ-professing Christian who is a proud African.
Mm.
And where I'm not saying anybody else must, where I stop as far as my Africanness is at that nexus between culture and spirit. Because to me, if I'm sick, and somebody says Mantatu Mhlonyane is there to minister to my physical body, I'll take it.
Okay.
You know what I think is witchcraft? Is when somebody says, I must take this herb because when Penuel sees me, he's going to be mesmerized and show favor towards me.
Can that be one of the things we debate in future?
Because to me, then that delves into the realm of witchcraft. Witchcraft is mind control.
Can we debate that in future?
We can. Last example.
No, please go for it. What you're telling me is very disturbing, and I immediately wanted to fire back with your examples of witchcraft under religion, but we'll debate it on another day.
Remember, I'm defining witchcraft as that which compromises
exactly
the functionality of the rational being.
I fully get what you're saying.
Anything to me that I take is going to minister to a physical need.
Yeah.
I take that. Now, if you are going to go to somebody who's going to make a mechanism to compromise the functionality of the human mind and win a case in a court of law, that goes into that family of activities that belong with witchcraft. You know why I'm strong in it? It's because the Messiah, Yeshua, says, I enter by the gate. The doorkeeper opens the gate. Anybody else who enters by other means is a thief. What is the gate of the human soul? It's the rational being that can be presented with something and accept it. You will never in your life hear someone who says they have been possessed by Jesus and that didn't come through the gate of conscious acceptance. But you will hear somebody who is saying there is a particular spirit that is in me and it's compelling me to do this, that, and the other.
You're going to be happy for that debate? I don't want to debate you now. No, not now.
Okay. No, I'd be happy. I mean,
Hey, I will listen to a show. I'm going to trigger many people.
You know what?
So I have to ask you to debate at some point. If not, look, it would be nice to hear most of these thoughts, or for me on a separate platform to counter some of them.
So this is where I have a problem with Penuel. Penuel, when somebody comes on his show, speaks against Christianity, most of the time he agrees. He never says, I'm going to challenge you to a debate. We need to debate this. So many people are going to be upset by this, because we all get upset by it, but he doesn't debate on our behalf. But now someone says something against African spirituality. He wants to debate on behalf of people who believe in African spirituality. Now, mind you, Penuel doesn't believe in African spirituality. He believes, that there is no God. He's an atheist. But isn't it interesting that he wants to argue for something that he doesn't believe? Because he says, no, shouldn't we be reading O Credo Mutua? Shouldn't we be doing Sankofa? Shouldn't we be going back to who we were? But is that what he's doing? Because like I said to you at the beginning of the video, atheism is not African, it's European. So he is willing to embrace European things, but it's just that other people can't embrace them. Not that Christianity is European, by the way. But also, when we talk about witchcraft, witchcraft is not African, all right? Witchcraft is definitely not African. I've mentioned this, and I'll put a link in the comment section for you. In Europe, there were witch hunts that were happening. There were witches, they called them cunning folks. So anything that's got to do with witchcraft, that's not an African problem. It's a universal problem. The same way that venerating ancestors is not just African. I've got a book right here as well of Christians in Taiwan who talk about the struggles with people wanting to venerate ancestors and so on when Christianity comes in Taiwan. These are Chinese people. It's all over Asia. And so people must also think, when we're talking about the whole idea of decolonization, to decolonize doesn't mean I must go now and embrace speaking to people who are dead and so on. Because first of all, that doesn't make me African to speak to people who are dead. Absolutely not. But I like what Dr. Ongama is saying, that, man, when it comes to using certain herbs, I can use certain herbs because that's how medicine is made, right? So we're not here to look down on African practices. I've got a friend who's an apologist, Pastor Zanel. He's a herbalist, right? He uses herbs, he finds certain things that can help people, right? Those things are natural. God created them. They're not demonic. But Dr. Ongama says he draws the line when you begin to invoke spirits, when you begin to have formulas that now play around with the mind, where you have love potions, where you force people to do things they wouldn't have done naturally. Now, he says he draws the line there. And all of us should do that. I mean, I think witchcraft is bad. Doesn't matter who practices it. And there's a problem with witchcraft in Europe as well. Because people want to decolonize. But when we say, right, let's decolonize, no, I want to decolonize Christianity. I don't want to decolonize the fact that my ancestors used to use a donkey to travel. And now with colonization came cars. No. And we have to be honest, witchcraft has not done Africans the greatest of good. It's brought so much destruction between families, so much hate between people and animosity. And so it's not very helpful. But also equally, I mean, Europe is where it is today because of Christianity. If you look at all the things that have happened in Europe after the coming of Christianity, whether it's an enlightenment, whether it's the industrial revolutions, the scientific revolutions, all of those things were spearheaded by Christians, Isaac Newton, Galileo. But those people had to leave some of the spiritual beliefs that they had, embrace Christianity, and then see the world the right way. And then in seeing the world the right way, the way that God designed it, then they could, begin to explore and discover other scientific things. And this is what we need to do as Africans. So to decolonize doesn't mean I must leave what works and just embrace something that hasn't worked in the past, something that has led to so much hate between people. But I look and I go, something like the technology to make a car, that works, whether it's from England or not. And so I've got to approach Christianity in the same way. Is it true or not? That's the question. It's got nothing to do, with the fact that it is African or not, but is it helpful? Is it beneficial? That's what we should ask ourselves when we're even doing decolonization. Is it helpful? Is it beneficial? And so as far as I'm concerned, Christianity is beneficial both spiritually, but also even in creating a worldview that helps us to understand the world. But I think it's also important when we engage in discussions like this that we understand that You know, Penuel talks about what he was about to say to Dr. Ongama was to say, well, Christianity came in and people were deceived, and so therefore he's trying to nullify his argument. But we can make the same case about atheism, right? Atheism believes that nothing can produce something. How's that rational, right? To say that nothing can create everything that we see in the world today, right? When you look at the design and all the things that we have in the world, you cannot be a rationally thinking person to assume that that can come out of nothing. So again, we can make the same case about atheism to say it's not rational. You believe in magic, you believe in witchcraft if you believe in atheism, to think that the world, the universe, can somehow come together. There'll be some atoms and some matter that comes together and you've got all of this. You believe in witchcraft. And so the same thing he's trying to make about Christianity, we can actually make about him. But very grateful to Dr. Ongama for standing up for the gospel. We need more and more people who are people of influence who can stand up for the faith, because today everybody is going against Christianity, the popular people, the celebrities, the politicians. But it's just refreshing to have someone like Dr. Ongama really stand up for the truth of the gospel. So guys, if you like the video, encouraging you to subscribe, to like, and to keep sharing our videos. We'll see you on the next video.